Hi there, my name is Margaret Bannon. I teach tennis and yoga, and I'd love to welcome you to the Yoga for Tennis Breathing Challenge here on day number 4. If you haven't gotten a chance to check out those first 3 days, please refer back to my channel as a base for everything else we're doing this week. And we're doing this to enhance your overall experience and how to breathe efficiently in order to improve your tennis game. You can also subscribe to my channel to keep up with the following practices. So we're doing 7 days of yoga for tennis breathing in total, but I also release videos every Tuesday for yoga for tennis Tuesdays, sometimes on the mat, sometimes on the court. And with that said, if you can't practice these challenge videos in a row in this week, you can access them at a later time on a playlist that I'll be creating for the challenge specifically. And if you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and let me know of any questions or comments you might have in the comments below. Let's review what we've done so far. So on day 1, we worked on a little bit of breath awareness, the base for everything else. On day 2, we did an exercise in straw breathing to help us out with the exhalations that we're hoping to mimic in the actual hitting of the strokes. On day 3, we worked with synchronizing movement to that breath on the mat. And then I showed you an example of how you might work with that on court. Today's practice will include a balanced breath known as the ocean breath that can be used not only in between points, but on changeovers and anytime you feel like you need to balance yourself out physically, mentally, emotionally. You know, recently I was mentioned on Brad Gilbert's podcast called Winning Uglier, and I had submitted a question, and so it got addressed in the Q&A portion, and I was very excited about that because he really supported yoga for tennis breathing. And what we're hoping to do with this breath is to balance ourselves out. So what that means is that if we're feeling a little slow, tired, lethargic, the breath can help lift us up. Or maybe it's the opposite. We're feeling a little over anxious, a little monkey-minded. We can help calm ourselves down. And so if you want to hear a little more on that, I'll include a link to that podcast show specifically in the comments that you can refer to and listen on that. It's a fun listen. So with that said, shall we get started? We're going to do this practice seated today. I'm seated on a yoga bolster and a blanket. You could be seated in a chair. Anything that allows you to be comfortable and to be up a little more upright would be preferable. Okay, so we're going to work on this breath, and then I'm going to show you a video after today where you can incorporate this into your actual tennis play. This breath comes from a book called Introduction to Yoga by Alan Finger, and it's something that we refer to this breath all the time in teaching new yoga students, or maybe you're not new to yoga, but you're just looking to enhance your breath for your tennis play. And so let's go ahead and check this out. So as we come to sit, go ahead and close your eyes or find something to focus on, maybe directly in front of you, just to bring your awareness a little more internal. So I would like to center before working with the breath awareness and the specific breath practice. So for a moment, just feel the heaviness of your hips. Feel the heaviness of your legs, maybe observing where your legs, your feet meet the ground, or if you're seated in a chair, maybe the soles of your feet are contacting the ground. And as you get an overall sense for feeling the heaviness of your lower half, feel as if your upper half or your torso is gently lifting from tail through crown up and out of the legs. So it might feel like two opposing actions there. And now that you're a little more aware of what's happening in the body, I want you to notice your breath without changing a thing. Where does the breath feel obvious in your body? This might be different from what you experienced on previous days in the challenge. Does the breath have a sound, or maybe you're just searching for the sound? And what is the quality of the breath like today? This can be felt in the nostrils, in the observing of the inhalations and the exhalations in comparison of one another with regards to length, with regards to ease, comfort. And now that you're a little more aware of your breath, go ahead and gently open your eyes for a moment. Okay, just notice how you feel. And we're going to engage in this practice together. So we're going to do a couple of exercises working up to the breath that we're looking for in this ocean breath, also called the Ujjayi breath in yoga. And so you're going to take one palm a couple inches away from your mouth. This is so that you can feel your breath in your palm, the moisture that it's creating. Almost like you're trying to see your breath on a cold day, or maybe you're trying to clean a pair of glasses. So what you're going to do is you're going to inhale through the nose, and as you exhale, I want you to exhale through your mouth, creating this sound. Again, almost like you're trying to see your breath on a cold day. Inhale through the nose. Exhale through the mouth, and try that a couple of times on your own, trying not to force. See if you can let it go on the exhale, noticing the sound, the sensation of the exhale. And then go ahead and relax the breath. Come back to what's natural. Sometimes we can get a little lightheaded when taking these deeper breaths than what we're used to. So just observe if that was true for you. And so we'll progress. We're going to do the same thing, but this time, halfway through that exhalation, we'll close the mouth in order to see if we can hear that same sound and sensation in the back of the throat, even though we're closing the mouth. So good thing I'm mic'd up here. I think you'll be able to hear this nicely. One issue that students have is not closing the mouth soon enough. So if you find that you're running out of breath, that might be true for you. So you're going to inhale through the nose. As you exhale, begin to exhale through the mouth. And then you close halfway through the exhalation. Inhale through the nose. And so continue on your own. You're inhaling through the nose. You're beginning to exhale through the mouth. Halfway through the exhalation, you're closing the mouth. Can you hear that same sound? Can you feel those same sensations? Once you close the mouth, and I'll do that a couple more times so that you can hear what we're working towards. Once again, go ahead and let go of controlling the breath. Come back to natural breath. And I'd like to say that sometimes the exercise can get a little tricky for some. And so, regardless of what you've experienced so far, let's continue on and let's see what your experience is. So, again, feel free to close your eyes if that allows you to connect to the breath a little more easily. What I'd like you to do is only breathe in and out through the nose now. And what I want you to do is pay attention to the exhalations and the exhalations alone. And you're seeing if you can connect. Can you find that same sound, that same sensation that you felt a moment ago? Now that you have the mouth closed. Some say that this breath sounds a little more like a sigh, like a snore. It's also been referred to as the Darth Vader-like breath. In Brad Gilbert's podcast, he said, breathe like you have asthma. I prefer ocean breath. So see if you can hear that same sound, those same sensations on your exhalation. And if you are beginning to hear and feel those ocean-like sounds, I want you to see if you can start to mimic the same sound and sensation on your inhalations. For some of us, this will be a little more challenging to do. And so I'll go ahead and exaggerate the sound of my breath to encourage the type of breath we're working towards. And regardless as to what your experience is, I want you to start to even out your inhalations and your exhalations in length. This might require you to shorten one of your breaths if you notice that it was naturally longer than the other. So, regardless as to whether or not you're hearing and feeling the ocean breath, do your best to even out your inhalations and your exhalations now. So, for example, you inhale for a count of 3, you're exhaling for a count of 3. Your breaths might be shorter, they might be longer. Regardless, you're evening them out to the best of your ability. Let's take 5 more full breaths together, just like this. And so once you're done with those 5 breaths, you can go ahead and open your eyes. You can return back to your natural breath and just see how you feel. So maybe you're not quite getting that ocean-like sound, that sensation yet, but maybe you were able to even your breath out. At the very least, you're aware of your breath. So that's the first piece, the most important thing. On court, depending on how winded you are, you might not be able to breathe in and out through your nose. You might be still trying to get that exhalation out pretty quickly to invite that inhale if you're really winded. But in other situations, you might be able to breathe in and out through the nose, or you might just simply balance out the length of inhalations and exhalations just as a tool, not only to calm yourself down physically, mentally, emotionally, but to become a little more focused. It helps you not to focus on all of these other things that come up with the score. What happens if you win, you lose, the people you might let down, the people you're hoping to impress. And so stay watching this video. I'm going to show you what this looks like with my friend Rich Vernsey. He's going to hit some balls and he's going to work on combining the actual hitting exhalations as he hits, but then taking some time in between the hitting and doing what we were just working towards. All right, so let me know how it goes. Hope to see you on day 5 for the rest of the challenge, and happy practicing in the meantime. Namaste. Okay, so by now you've seen how to practice your ocean breath, your balanced breath on the controlled environment of being on your mat. And now it's time to take this one step further on the court. Today I am joined by Rich Vernsey, owner and operator of Wrigley's Tennis Shop. He was also on the Yonex stringing team for the 2020 Aussie Open and probably one of the biggest tennis fans I know. And actually, this whole series was a bit inspired by Rich because we had a conversation on breathing and how it's so challenging no matter what level player you are. It's just something that has to be practiced. So today we're going to do a drill that actually was shown to me by the Miami tennis team when we got to host them last January in 2020. I'm going to hand feed some balls to Rich. The idea is to get him a little bit winded so that we can talk about the breath in between these series of hits. This is something that you can do or practice in your lessons with a sparring partner. And the idea is if you do this in practice, then you're able to take that into your match play. But you have to do it in a less stressful situation first. So let's go ahead and demonstrate this. And one thing I want to mention before we begin, this is not something that we're looking to perfect. It's something that takes a little while to develop, right? So just do the best that you can. We don't need our yoga breath to become another stress in our life. It's really just more important that we're allowing the breath to become our focus in between those rallies, and in this case, to be able to recover and to take our mind off of all of those other things that might be happening on the court. So let's give this a shot and let's see how it goes. All right, so I'm gonna have Rich come back to the center. He's going to do his best also to exhale as he hits. We've talked about that in previous videos. And so I'm going to pull him out wide. He's going down the line on everything. And he's going to come back to that middle. So he is doing a nice job of exhaling as he hits. He's going to come back to that middle. We're going to go through this one more time. He's going to watch that ball closely. As you can see, this is a lot of work physically. All right, so he's going to come back. Now, I would suggest we actually have some nice shade on the court, that he comes back and walks towards the shade, and he's going to take some slower, more controlled breaths, if possible, in and out through the nose. He's trying to balance out the breath. You can go ahead and walk back slowly to the baseline. And at the very least, you're just becoming aware of your breath. So if you're not quite there with making that ocean-like sound, you're not quite there with balancing it out. You're just trying to equalize the breath. Hopefully you're able to do that as it comes time to playing that next point or getting into that next rally. And we start the process over again. So let's try that one more time. All right, you ready, Rich? All right, here we go. He's going to exhale as he hits. And that's going to help him overall to swing more freely, as we've discussed. That's it. So again, he's exerting himself. Lots of work. Great job breathing so far. And now, because we're done, he's going to walk back. And he can also keep his gaze downward. That's kind of nice so that your mind's not being spread out to what's happening outside the court. Some people like to look at their strings. That's why you see a lot of this. That's something that I used to do. Some people like to bounce that ball in their racket. So that's just to keep the awareness a little more internal, and it just helps you concentrate and helps you recover. So basically, I think that was a good demonstration of breathing, not just during the actual hitting of the strokes as we've discussed, but in between these longer rallies where you feel a little more exerted and you're looking to balance out your breath so that you don't feel overly tired. You could be in great shape, but if you're not breathing properly, you'll feel like you're completely gassed even after a short period of time. And so I would love to see you try this out. Let me know how you do in incorporating this ocean breath, maybe working towards balancing the breath, at the very least becoming aware of your breath in your tennis play. And let me know how it goes in the comments below. I would love to know what your experience is, any questions you might have. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel so that you can keep up with the breathing challenge on days 5, 6, and 7, and for videos on every Tuesday for Yoga for Tennis Tuesdays. Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot to Rich.
Thank you.
Happy practicing.